class 12th CBSE. The next topic of the lesson, human reproduction, is pregnancy and embryonic development. In previous class, we are studying about the fertilization, then formation of morula, then formation of blastula. This is the stage after the blastulation. It is towards the gastrulation, conversion of the blastula towards the gastrula. That is the pregnancy and embryonic development. According to NCERT textbook, we have to consider how blastula implant inside the endometrium. This is blastula, composed of outermost rectangular trophoblast, Inside the trophoblast, the germ cells are present, irregular manner, large number of cells are there. And these are called the germ knob. In between the trophoblast and germ knob, certain cells are present, that is called the Robert cells. Robert cells play an important role at the time of implantation. What happened? At the time of implantation, this is Robert's cell. At the time of implantation, what happened? This cells removed here from here, and some finger-like projection is formed like this. This finger-like projection inserted inside the folds of endometrium and fixed its place in the endometrium. This finger-like projection is called cryonic villi. The substance which is present inside the germ lobe, it also contains some liquid. Some liquid is present, that is called the uterine milk. In common language, it is called the uterine milk. And technically, it is called blastocele. That is the actually nutritive substance which provides the nutrition for the developing embryo. The embryo, the complete embryonic membrane, is divided into 4 parts. That is developed from the trophoblast. It is divided into 4 parts. Let's see first the diagram, then we must write the explanation of that. This is the embryo at the time of the embryonic development. Okay. Then one part is there, that is called the yolk sac. Yolk sac, definitely the yolk, presence of the yolk. The yellow part of the egg, you know very well. The yellow part which is present in the normal egg. In hen's egg or in reptile's egg, the content of the yolk is too much. When you boil the hen's egg, you must take the one ball of the yolk. That is the yolk sac. This is a yolk sac in human embryo. But the amount of this yolk is very less. Why the amount of the yolk is less in the human embryo? Because for nutrition, the human embryo is dependent upon the mother's body. The development of the fetus is continue inside the mother's womb. But what happened in the reptiles and the egg, that is birds, the development of the embryo is outside the mother's body. So they need nutrients, and that nutrients is provided by the yolk. But the limitation of yolk is there because the body is developed inside the mother's womb. So this is the yolk sac which is present here. But more packet-like structure is present here also at the time of the embryonic development, and this part is called allantois. As I told, the embryonic membrane is made up of 4 layers. 4 layers are present in the embryonic membrane. One is the yolk sac, second is the allantosis, okay. The third layer, the third layer which is present here, the third layer which actually cover this embryo sac, and that is called from here. It covers like this, the whole embryo sac, it is covered that, and that is called the amnion. This is the third layer is there, amnion. One more layer is present that is covered the whole embryo nodus, and that is called the cornea. Okay, one more layer is present here. This is, and here the finger-like projection is there. This is the cryonic villi. And the fourth layer of the embryonic development or embryonic membrane, that is called the chorion. The embryonic membrane is actually made up of the 4 layer, corneon, then amnion, then allantosis, and then fourth is the yolk sac. So this is the outermost, the layer which is formed at the time of the embryonic development. Okay. Now what is the stepwise process going on in the pregnancy and the embryonic development? First, after implantation, finger-like projection appears on the trophoblast, and that is called the chronic villi. After implantation, finger-like projection is formed by trophoblast, and this is called cryonic villi. What is the role of this cryonic villi? Cryonic villi inserted inside the folds of endometrium. Cryonic villi, which is surrounded by the uterine tissue and all the blood vessels. It is inserted inside the uterine tissue. It means inside the folds of the endometrium. The cryonic villi, which is surrounded by the uterine tissue, insert inside the wall of the endometrium. It combines in a functional form of the functional unit, and it is actually a link between the fetus and the mother. It is combined together with a link which is called the link between the fetus and the mother, and that link is called the placenta. So what is the role of this cryonic villi? Cryonic villi fix the position of embryo in uterus as it is surrounded by, uterine tissue. Embryo in uterus as it is surrounded by uterine tissue. First role. Now what is the second role is the cryonic villi. Cryonic villi actually maintain or build a connection between the fetus and the mother, and that connection is actually called the placenta. Cryonic villi helps to make a connection between mother and the fetus called placenta. Placenta is very much important because this is the tube through which the fetus get the nutrients from the mother body as well as mother's body, as well as this part, the placenta, helps to remove the waste of the body, waste of the fetus body. So it acts as a nutrient chamber, as a nutrient passage, as well as the excretory passage. So that is the importance of placenta. Let's see what is the importance of placenta. Importance of placenta. Placenta is very much important. That's why I have already told you the content of yolk is very less in the human embryo. Why it is less? Because yolk is not the source of nutrients. How the growing fetus get the nutrients? It gets from the mother's body, because it is developed inside the womb of the mother. So all the nutrients provided to the fetus is by the mother's body only, and that is provided through the placenta. So what is the role of placenta? Placenta actually supply oxygen and nutrient to the embryo. It supplies oxygen and nutrients to the developing embryo or the fetus. Developing embryo or the fetus. Not only provide the nutrients, it also help to remove the excretory product, excretory waste which is formed inside the embryo. It helps to remove carbon dioxide and other excretory materials outside the embryo. That is the important role of the placenta. The placenta is very much important part of the growing or developing embryo. Placenta is actually a connection to the embryo through which the embryo get the nutrients, embryo get the remove the waste. So it is a transport channel between the embryo and the mother. The placenta is very much important. It is also called umbilical cord. It is the cord which is very much important. What is the other importance of the placenta? Placenta also acts as an endocrine gland. Placenta, it acts as endocrine tissues and produces various hormones. Some of the important hormones that is formed, is first is the human chorionic gonadotropin. Human chorionic gonadotropin. HCG. Human chorionic gonadotropin. Okay. One more hormone that is produced by this placenta is the human placenta lactogen. Human placenta lactogen. Human placenta lactogen. Not only this hormone, it also helps to maintain the level of estrogen and progesterone, etc. Estrogen and progesterone. So this is the important hormonal activity which occurs at the time of the embryonic development. Not only this, some more movement is going on. All these hormones, that is HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin, HPL, human placenta lactogen, some more hormone, that is estrogen, progesterone, but one more important is the relaxin. These three hormones are produced only during the pregnancy. Produces only during pregnancy. Because because these play an important role at the time of the pregnancy. Increased amount of some hormone during pregnancy are estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, that thyroxine. The amount of this hormone increases at the time of the pregnancy. Amount of some hormones increases at the time of pregnancy. Such as estrogen, progesterone, then thyroxine, then cortisol, etc. Some hormone increases its amount during the pregnancy. What happens during the pregnancy and the embryonic development? These hormones is very much essential. Why it is essential? For development of the growth and development of the fetus, for metabolic change in the mother and maintain the pregnancy. It actually is important for whole pregnancy period, okay, whole gestation period. All the three important functions. First is the fetal growth, second is the metabolic growth, the metabolic maintenance of changes in the mother body, and third is the maintenance of pregnancy. So these hormones are important for fetal development or fetal growth, metabolic changes in mother, and to maintain pregnancy. So this is the important role of these hormones. Immediate after the implantation, the inner cell of mass of the embryo is differentiated into three parts. The inner cell, in the first diagram we must say that that inner cell, that is germ knob, is differentiated into three layers. That is the outermost is the ectoderm, middle one is the mesoderm, and innermost is the endoderm. Endoderm, the mother's uterine wall of endometrium, where this embryo is implanted. Then the material or the cells which is present as the germ knob is differentiated into three layers, and these three layers give rise all the tissues and organs present in the adult body. So what after implantation? After implantation, the germ cells divided into three layers. Note very well. The outermost ectoderm, middle mesoderm, and innermost is the endoderm. And what is the importance of these three layers? These three layers actually give rise all the tissues and organs in the body. These three layers later give rise all the tissues and organs in human or in adult or growing fetus. This is the three layer which is responsible for all the body parts which is formed inside the mother. The inner cell mass is also called the stem cell, and it is very much important. Why it is important? Because it has potential to give rise all the new tissues and organs. The innermost that is called the ectoderm. Endoderm. Endoderm is also called stem cell, and stem cell is very much important. It is important because it has potency to develop new tissues and organs. Nowadays, some banks are there for preserve this stem cell after the process is completed in the mother's womb, that is called the pasteurization. After this parturition, when the baby is delivered out, then this stem cell is preserved, and this stem cell is used in the future process. Any time when that particular baby need or the adult need some organ or the tissue development, it is possible to convert this stem cell into tissue and the organ.